I'm Christina Moy, and welcome to the Digipalms podcast. Here we cut through the fluff and dive into the real world of media and marketing, spicing it up with diverse, engaging stories. Each episode brings you actionable insights and practical tips from our own marketing adventures. Whether you're a startup founder, a seasoned marketer, or just a curious listener, there's something here for you. Ready to transform your marketing strategies into success stories? Join us to explore the art and science of media and marketing, learn from our successes and setbacks, and put our expert advice into practice. Don't forget to subscribe and visit thedigipalms.com for more. Let's get started.
Look good 24/7. 24/7.
Happy New Year, everyone. I don't know about you, but it feels like digital marketing is changing faster than ever, you know?
Yeah.
We're kicking off this year
Absolutely.
with a look at some predictions from Kenny Martini
Yeah.
about the future of digital marketing in 2025.
Right.
Buckle up. It's
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you too. And Kenny definitely paints a picture of a digital world that's unlike anything we've ever seen before. Let's start with his insights about social commerce, particularly on platforms like TikTok. You know, he says they're evolving into these immersive digital malls where users can shop and connect and experience brands in totally new ways.
Okay, I have to admit, when I first read that, I thought digital malls, that sounds kind of 90s.
Right.
But the more I dug into Kenny's research, the more I started to see the potential. He's talking about live shopping events that boast conversion rates that are like 30% higher than traditional e-commerce sites. It's like QVC for the TikTok generation.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating about this is this new form of shopping. You know, it really plays into how Gen Z already uses social media.
Yeah.
Think about it, like they're already on TikTok, watching product reviews, connecting with friends, engaging with brands, you know?
Yeah.
Now they can do all of that and make purchases right within the app. So it's seamless, it's engaging.
Totally.
And it's clearly resonating.
Yeah, which is huge because Kenny's research also shows that 40% of Gen Z are bypassing Google altogether.
Wow.
For product research. They're going straight to TikTok or Instagram.
Interesting.
For recommendations and reviews.
Right. And that brings us to another one of Kenny's key points, the importance of authenticity. He found that those slick, expensive marketing videos that brands used to pour money into, you know, they're actually hurting them now. Consumers, especially Gen Z, they can smell that inauthenticity a mile away. Yeah. They crave realness, rawness, a behind-the-scenes look at what a brand is all about.
It's like that whole de-influencing trend that's taken social media by storm. Yeah. Right? People are actively seeking out content that calls out overhyped or misleading products.
Exactly.
It's almost like a backlash against the perfectly curated, airbrushed images that we've been
bombarded with
for years.
And this ties into the rise of user-generated content, UGC, which often feels more relatable and trustworthy than anything a brand could create on its own. And Kenny found that this kind of raw, authentic content is outperforming professional productions by 40% in engagement. So if you're still clinging to those highly polished, big budget campaigns, you know, it might be time to rethink your strategy.
For sure. It seems like giving your audience a glimpse behind the curtain. Yeah. Showing them the human side of your brand is more important than ever.
Absolutely.
But what about AI? It feels like everyone's talking about the potential of AI to revolutionize marketing, right?
Yeah.
Where does Kenny stand on this?
Well, Kenny's take on AI is interesting. He doesn't see it as a replacement for human marketers, so to speak. Yep. Instead, he believes that AI's greatest potential lies in its ability to enhance human interaction and personalize the customer experience.
So instead of those generic email blasts that we all just send straight to the spam folder, he's envisioning a world where AI helps us create hyper-personalized messages and experiences that actually resonate with our audience.
Exactly. Imagine like a virtual store that literally rearranges itself based on your past purchases, your browsing history, your preferences.
Okay.
Or an AI assistant that can answer your questions about a product in real time, providing tailored recommendations based on what you're looking for.
Okay, that's starting to sound a little sci-fi.
Right.
But Kenny's not just dreaming this up, right? He points to data showing that businesses using this kind of advanced AI personalization are seeing customer lifetime values increase by 280%.
That's right.
Which is insane.
And the key here is using AI to create a more human experience.
Yeah.
Not a less human one. It's about making your customers feel seen, understood, and valued.
All right, so we've got digital malls, authentic content, AI-powered personalization.
Right.
What other major shifts are we seeing in the marketing landscape as we head into 2025?
Well, Kenny emphasizes the rise of what he calls conscious consumerism, which I know we've touched on before, but it bears repeating. He says 75% of Gen Z and millennials are making purchasing decisions based on a brand's values, their environmental impact, their stance on social issues. They're not just buying a product, they're buying into a brand's ethos.
And they can spot greenwashing or inauthenticity from a mile away, right?
Absolutely.
They're demanding proof, transparency, and real action from the brands that they support.
Exactly. And I think this ties back to our earlier conversation about authenticity, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just slap a sustainable label on your product or donate to a cause once a year. Consumers want to see that a brand's values are baked into everything they do, from their supply chain to their hiring practices to their marketing campaigns.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the brands that will win in 2025 and beyond are the ones who can walk the walk.
Yes.
Not just talk the talk, right?
That's right.
They're the ones who are prioritizing genuine human connection,
Yes.
embracing authenticity, and using technology like AI to enhance, not replace, the human touch.
You got it. That's a great way to sum it up. But before we move on, there's another technical shift that Kenny highlights.
Yeah.
That's worth discussing. The increase in importance of what's called zero-party data.
Okay. Zero-party data. Break that down for me and for our listeners who might not be familiar with the term.
Sure. So essentially, it's information that a customer willingly and proactively shares with a brand. Think about those quizzes or surveys you see online where a brand asks about your preferences or interests, or needs. That's zero-party data. And in a world where privacy concerns are at an all-time high, it's becoming the gold standard for brands looking to build trust and personalize the customer experience.
So instead of relying on cookies or other potentially invasive tracking methods, brands are asking customers to share their data directly in exchange for something valuable, like personalized recommendations or exclusive content.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But how effective is it?
Well, Kenny's research shows that brands that prioritize zero-party data are seeing up to a 40% increase in conversions.
Wow.
Why? Because when a customer feels like they have control over their data and that a brand respects their privacy, they're more likely to engage and ultimately make a purchase.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Social commerce, the importance of authenticity, the role of AI, the rise of conscious consumerism, and the shift towards zero-party data. Is there anything else our listeners need to know about the evolving digital landscape?
There are a couple more key trends that Kenny highlights that we'll dive into later. But before we do that, I want to emphasize one overarching theme that's woven throughout all of his insights. The future of digital marketing is all about creating experiences.
Experiences. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Kenny argues that in a world that's saturated with products and brands, the key to standing out is to create memorable, engaging experiences for your audience. This could involve anything from augmented reality try-ons to interactive quizzes to virtual events that foster a sense of community.
So it's not enough to just have a great product or a catchy tagline. You need to create a world that your customers want to be a part of.
Exactly. And when you do that successfully, you're not just selling a product, you're building a lasting relationship with your customers.
This is all incredibly insightful, but I'm already feeling a little overwhelmed.
Right.
There's so much to consider as we head into 2025. Where should our listeners even begin?
Don't worry, we'll unpack all of this and provide some actionable takeaways later. But for now, I think the key takeaway is this. The digital marketing landscape is evolving at an unprecedented pace. The brands that thrive will be the ones who are willing to adapt, experiment,
Yeah.
And above all, put the customer at the center of everything they do.
Okay, so before we move on,
Yeah.
we were talking about the importance of creating memorable experiences
Yes.
in the digital world. I'm curious to hear more about what that looks like in practice.
Yeah.
Does Kenny give any specific examples?
He does. He talks about how brands are using augmented reality to let customers try on clothes or makeup virtually, for example. And we're also seeing more interactive content like quizzes or polls that encourage engagement and provide personalized recommendations. Then there are virtual events, which have really taken off in the past few years, allowing people to connect with each other and experience brands in new ways.
So it's about blurring the lines between the physical and digital worlds.
Exactly.
Creating a sense of immersion and interactivity that goes beyond just, scrolling through a website or watching a video.
Exactly. And Kenny highlights another key trend that's closely tied to this idea of experience.
Well.
The rise of what he calls ambient computing.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm not familiar with that term. What is ambient computing?
So it basically refers to the idea that technology is becoming increasingly integrated into our surroundings.
Okay.
Think about smart speakers, wearable devices, connected appliances, even cars with built-in internet connectivity. These devices are constantly collecting data and responding to our commands, creating a seamless and personalized experience.
It sounds like we're headed towards a world where technology is almost invisible,
Yeah.
woven into the fabric of our lives.
Yeah.
But how does this impact marketing?
Well, as these devices become more ubiquitous, marketers need to think about how to reach consumers in these new contexts. For example, if someone is asking their smart speaker for a recipe, that's an opportunity for a food brand to offer a relevant suggestion. Or if someone is wearing a fitness tracker, a fitness apparel company could send them a personalized message based on their activity levels.
So it's not just about optimizing for Google searches anymore. It's about optimizing for voice search, for wearables,
Yes.
for a whole range of devices and platforms that are becoming increasingly integrated into our lives.
Right. And this brings us back to one of Kenny's core messages, the need to adapt and embrace change. The digital landscape is constantly evolving, and marketers who are clinging to outdated strategies are going to get left behind.
That's a little daunting, to be honest.
Yeah.
It feels like you need to be a tech wizard just to keep up with all of these changes.
It can definitely feel overwhelming, but I think the key is to focus on your audience and their needs. What devices are they using? Where are they spending their time? What kind of experiences are they looking for?
Yeah.
If you can answer those questions, you'll be well on your way to adapting to this new landscape.
That's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the latest shiny new technology, but ultimately it's all about connecting with your audience in a meaningful way. But speaking of connecting with your audience,
Yeah.
Kenny also talks about the importance of building communities. How does that fit into this new digital marketing paradigm?
Well, Kenny sees community building as an essential part of creating those memorable experiences we were talking about. He says that when people feel like they're part of a community, they're more likely to engage with a brand, share their experiences, and recommend it to others.
Yeah, it makes sense. We're social creatures, after all.
We are.
We crave connection, belonging, shared experiences. And in a world that can feel increasingly isolating, especially in the digital realm,
Absolutely.
I think brands have an opportunity to create spaces where people can come together and connect over shared interests or values.
Exactly. And Kenny's research shows that businesses that are actively building communities around their brands are seeing some pretty impressive results. He found that these businesses are experiencing customer retention rates that are up to 300% higher than those that aren't.
Wow.
300%.
300%. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's something powerful about tapping into that sense of community.
Absolutely.
But how do you actually go about building a community around your brand?
Yeah.
Are we talking about Facebook groups, online forums, in-person events? What does this look like in action?
It can take many forms.
Okay.
And the best approach will depend on your specific audience and brand. But Kenny highlights a few key strategies, such as creating exclusive content or experiences for community members, hosting online or in-person events that foster connection, and actively engaging with your audience on social media and other platforms. He also stresses the importance of giving your community a voice,
Yeah.
allowing them to shape the brand's direction and feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves.
That's a really interesting point. It's not just about broadcasting your message to a passive audience.
Right.
It's about creating a dialogue,
Exactly.
inviting your audience to participate in the conversation, and even co-create the brand experience with you.
Exactly. And when you do that successfully, you're not just building a community, you're building brand advocates, people who are so passionate about your brand that they'll go out of their way to share it with others.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
We've talked about the importance of creating experiences.
Yes.
The rise of ambient computing, the power of community building. It's a lot to digest.
It is.
But if we were to boil all of this down
Yeah.
to a few key takeaways, what would they be? What are the most important things our listeners should be thinking about as they plan their digital marketing strategies for 2025 and beyond?
Well, I think the most important takeaway is that the digital marketing landscape is changing faster than ever before. What worked yesterday might not work today,
Right.
and what works today might not work tomorrow.
Right.
So the first step is to embrace a mindset of flexibility and adaptability. Be willing to experiment, to try new things, and to constantly learn and evolve.
That makes sense. It's not about finding the one right answer or the
Right.
magic formula. It's about being nimble and responsive to the ever-changing needs of your audience and the digital landscape.
Exactly. And another key takeaway is that authenticity is more important than ever. Consumers, especially younger generations, they can spot a fake from a mile away.
Yeah.
They want to connect with brands that are genuine, transparent, and aligned with their values.
So ditch the stock photos, the generic marketing copy, the airbrushed perfection. Show your audience the real you, the human side of your brand.
Yes.
And let your personality shine through.
Right. And finally, I think it's essential to remember that technology is just a tool. It can be incredibly powerful, but it's only as effective as the human intelligence and creativity behind it. So don't get so caught up in the latest trends or gadgets that you lose sight of the human element of marketing.
It's about using technology to enhance human connection,
Yes.
not replace it. Right.
That's right.
To create experiences that are both meaningful and memorable.
Yes.
To build communities where people feel seen, heard, and valued.
Exactly. And if you can do those things, you'll be well positioned to succeed in the ever-evolving world of digital marketing.
This has been incredibly insightful, but before we wrap up, I'm curious to know more about Kenny Martini and his company, the DigiPalms. You mentioned earlier that they help businesses navigate these digital marketing changes. Can you tell us a little more about what they do?
Absolutely. Kenny founded the DigiPalms a few years ago with the goal of helping businesses of all sizes leverage the power of digital marketing to achieve their goals.
Yeah.
They offer a wide range of services from strategy development to content creation to campaign execution, all with a focus on data-driven results
Okay.
and a deep understanding of the ever-changing digital landscape.
It sounds like they're a one-stop shop for all things digital marketing. And given the complexity of this landscape, I can see how having a partner like the DigiPalms could be incredibly valuable for businesses that are feeling overwhelmed or unsure where to start.
I agree. And I think one of the things that sets them apart is their commitment to staying ahead of the curve. They're constantly researching and experimenting with the latest trends and technologies,
Yeah.
So their clients can be confident that they're getting cutting edge advice and strategies.
That's really important in a field that's moving as quickly as digital marketing. Well, I know I'm going to be checking out their website after this to learn more. I'm sure our listeners want to as well. But before we send them off to do that, is there anything else you want to share about the DigiPalms or Kenny's work?
Just that I highly recommend checking out Kenny's latest episode on his podcast.
Okay.
He goes into even more depth about the trends we've discussed today and offers some really actionable advice for businesses looking to adapt their marketing strategies for 2025 and beyond.
Great. We'll definitely include a link to his podcast in the show notes. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
But before we send our listeners over to the DigiPalms, I want to leave them with something to ponder.
Yes. As they navigate this new world of digital marketing in 2025, it's more crucial than ever for brands to be asking themselves a key question.
Kenny talks about this in this episode, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just chase trends or throw money at the latest technology.
Exactly. It's about understanding what your brand stands for at its core.
What are your values? What do you believe in? What kind of impact do you want to make on the world?
Because those answers will shape everything from your marketing strategy to your product development to your customer interactions.
So in this new era of digital marketing where authenticity reigns supreme and experiences are the currency, what will your brand stand for?
It's a question worth reflecting on as we head into this new year and as you explore Kenny Martinez's insights further.
This has been a fascinating deep dive, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore when it comes to the future of digital marketing.
But I think the key takeaway is that it's an exciting time to be in this industry.
There are so many opportunities for brands to connect with their audiences in new and innovative ways.
As long as they're willing to adapt and embrace the ever-evolving landscape.
And to always remember that the customer is at the heart of it all.
Well said. And on that note, we want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the future of digital marketing.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring and that you're feeling energized and ready to tackle the year ahead.
Don't forget to visit thedigipalms.com to learn more about how Kenny and his team can help you navigate these exciting changes and build a winning strategy for 2025 and beyond.
Happy New Year, everyone. Here's to a successful and transformative year ahead.
24/7. 24/7.
So much to think about. But I think what really resonated with me is Kenny's point about the importance of purpose-driven marketing,
Yeah.
It's not enough to just sell products or services anymore.
Right.
Consumers, especially those younger generations, they want to support brands that are making a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely. They want to know that their purchases are aligning with their values and contributing to something bigger than themselves.
Exactly. And I think that's where Kenny's idea of the conscious consumer really comes into play, right?
Yes. He talks about how brands need to move beyond just, slapping a sustainable label on their products or donating to a charity once a year.
Right.
It's about integrating those values into every aspect of their business.
From their supply chain to their hiring practices to how they interact with their customers.
Exactly. And that's where transparency becomes so crucial. Consumers are savvy. They can see through those empty promises and marketing gimmicks.
Right. They want to see the receipts.
They do. They want proof that brands are actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
And that proof can come in many forms, right? From third-party certifications to detailed information about sourcing and production practices to showcasing the real people behind the brand.
Exactly. It's about giving consumers the information they need to make informed decisions and to feel good about the brands they're supporting.
So if a brand wants to win in 2025 and beyond, they need to not only embrace the trends that we've talked about, the digital malls, the AI personalization, the community building.
Absolutely.
But they also need to have strong sense of purpose and be willing to be transparent and accountable
Authentic.
to their customers.
So in this new world of marketing where everything's changing so rapidly, what will your brand stand for?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with. What will your brand stand for in 2025?
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive.
It have.
And a great way to kick off the new year.
Absolutely.
We've covered so much ground from the rise of social commerce to the importance of authenticity and purpose to the transformative power of AI.
And let's not forget about those digital malls.
Oh, yeah. I'm still trying to wrap my head around those. But hey, who knows? Maybe we'll all be hanging out in virtual shopping centers in a few years.
Maybe so. The future of digital marketing is full of surprises.
That's for sure. But I think the one thing that's certain is that it's going to be an exciting ride.
Absolutely. And as we navigate these changes together, it's important to remember to stay curious, to stay adaptable.
Yes.
And to always put the customer at the heart of everything we do. Well said. And on that note, we want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the future of digital marketing.
Yes. Thank you for listening. We hope you found it insightful and that you're feeling energized and ready to tackle the year ahead.
And don't forget to visit thedigipalms.com to learn more about how Kenny and his team can help you navigate these exciting changes and build a winning strategy for 2025 and beyond.
And to all our listeners out there, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
24/7. I'm hot 24/7.
I'm Christina Moy, and thanks for tuning in to another engaging session on the DigiPalms podcast. Don't leave just yet. Subscribe to join our community and never miss out on our cutting-edge discussions. See you next time.
I'm hot 24/7.